Hello, my name is Lisa, and I'm an internal support coordinator with WEX FSM, and I wanted to welcome you all to today's session of Solution Studio. Today, we're going to be going over the second section of reporting, and we're going to be doing the chat tab that's under job reporting. Okay, let me go over and get started. So when you come into WEX FSM, you would come to reporting, and this is the page that you will land on. In the first rotation, the Solution Studio goes in like 20-day rotations, and Fridays is kept aside for Q&As. But the first 4 days has different subjects, and the first rotation we did the customers section. Now the accounting, receivables, aging, that type of thing is already done on a separate webinar. So we kept that as separate breakouts. We did this one all together in one, and that's in the recordings. And today's we're going to work on some of these job reports. And
Okay.
some of those are also in breakouts as well, like the job costing one would be, the job profit report would be on the job costing webinar. So we're just only going to lightly touch on those unless you have any major questions on those, and then we'll dive in on those. So the first
Okay.
one is, did you have a question?
No,
Oh,
nope.
okay. So the first one we're going to go over is the appointments report. And the appointments report is basically that. It's just a list of appointments. It has the statuses, it has the job information, who it's assigned to, and we have all the different ways that you can sort for this. We have a lot of customers who daily print this out at the end of the day for the appointments that are coming up the next day because they just want to have a regular hard copy. And you can always download any of our reports to PDF or Excel that are this type of report. These were the original reports that were created in Payserware, and these have carried over into our system. There are some other ones that are done in Tableau that are a little bit different, and they just go to Excel. So
Okay.
basically, anything in the system red, you can click on it. If you want to go through the date range and you want to see the other side, if you click on the column header, it will toggle it back and forth for you. And any of the headers behave the same way. If you're using appointment tags, those will show up here as well. And if you haven't used appointment tags yet, these are a really neat addition to our system that you can get by going to the schedule page. And when you create a new appointment, there's a place to give your tech or for reporting a way to sort this down. So let's say you had a job where you were doing multiple stages, or you have a company that has plumbing, electric, and HVAC, or any combination of those. You can put an appointment tag on here, and you can put in here to bring the 12-inch ladder. If it is a rough-in, you can do that. You can use multiple tags on here, but if it's a rough-in and it's a new construction, and the appointment is for the rough-in, you can put this on here so that when you go back and look at those appointment tags, you'll know you have completed the rough-in and that the next stage will be the trim out. So you can use this and follow along with this in the reporting. So it's a great feature if you haven't used it before. And also you can always go to the bottom and you can add more tags in here. So this is pretty much your list. It starts out when you first start with maybe 3 of them in there, and you can add more as you go.
Okay.
Okay. So if you haven't used that one,
Cool.
that's a great one, and it'll show up here. So also, when you're going through different things, you can say, okay, this is where we are on these appointments, and it will show up on the jobs and some of the other reports as well. The nice thing about this is you can also see how many hours you have scheduled for the week, how many hours worked, and how many appointments that you have scheduled. In our system, we have these little eyes everywhere so that you can take a peek at it. And it says if multiple technicians are scheduled for the same appointment, the appointment will only be counted once. But so since you
Okay.
can filter by who's on the appointment, you may see the appointment in here more than once because it's assigned to a different tech. Okay.
Okay.
And then let's see,
Yep.
did you have any questions on this one?
Nope. This looks good so far.
Okay. The next one is the appointments and service requests. So on the schedule page, when you, and I tried to make this as big so that everybody could see it. So you have the service requests and you have the unassigned appointments. Service requests are when you don't know who you're going to send or when you're going to send them. And unassigned appointments are, you know, when you're going to send somebody, but you just don't know who. And it's really important to monitor these if you use this feature because you've already told your customer that you are going to be there between 11 and 12, but you just don't know who. So you can always drag and drop these over. But once you get quite a few of these in here, it kind of becomes out of sight, out of mind. And you can show filters and you can search if you know what you're looking for. But if you want to see it as a whole, it's kind of hard. So that's what the appointments and service request report was created for, so that you can get a list of this and see everything all in one look. And then that way you can kind of say, okay, I don't have to go back over here and keep scrolling back and forth or trying to remember the person's name, that type of thing. I can come over here and take a look to see whether it's appointment, whether it's a service request, the date it was created, the appointment date and time. If it's a service request, it's not going to have that. If there is a tag, an appointment tag like we talked about, there's the ones for inspection, visit two for the installation. So there's all of these that are in here that you can see. If you know some of the information and you want to sort by type, by appointment or service request, you can do that. This report was built in Tableau, so it functions a little bit differently than the other reports we had. And sometimes people come in and they go, I can't get out of this. To get out of it, you click back in that field. And if you just want to see all
Okay.
appointments or all service requests, you can come in here and change this. And it's probably going to be a little bit slow because I am on a Zoom and this is a test account. So always remember things can go wrong in this one because that's where we go into break things. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so once I come in and I choose service request, it will sort through all those and it should load all of the service requests for me. It'll take a little bit of time, but the same with any of these. And then once you're done, all you have to do is click back into that box and this drop down will go away. If
Okay.
you change your sort or anything like this, there's a little refresh button up here that you can use. It looks like a little tub with a half circle. You can click on that to refresh the screen and you can come in here and now this is all just all service requests so that you can see that. These reports have a scroll bar on the bottom, so there's more information to the right, and a scroll bar on the right if there's more information that can fit in the window. So just remember that if you don't see everything that you need, these are there. Okay. Now, if you want to download this, remember on the other report, it was a green button. On here, you would come to choose the format. You would choose crosstab or PDF.
Okay.
Crosstab will be Excel and it will download it into Excel for you. Okay. And there will be two options, the full report and just a list. So a summary. And a summary is okay, but it just gives you a number. It doesn't tell you the information that you need. So you want to go to the Excel one.
Okay.
And let's see. Did you have any questions on this one?
Nope, not yet. Nope, so
Okie
that's
dokie,
good.
we're 2 for 2. Yay. Okay, so the next one on the list is invoice detail. And this is nice if you just want to go in and review the invoices for the day. Um, in WEX FSM, we have what we call, this is a list view. So we have jobs and we have an invoice list, and you can get a little bit of information from there. You can go in and see the sync status. And like I said before, anything with a box like this means it's a multi-select box because it doesn't have this little caret. So you could come in and choose not ready. You could choose error. Okay, any of those, and it will sort these all out for you. Okay, and you can just go through my errors. As you can tell, we have a lot of errors in here. And it doesn't give a whole lot of information. It just customer name, invoice number, the last time it's modified, the status, that type of thing. But the invoice detail report will actually tell you the line items. Okay, it'll tell you what status it's in. Okay, right now we have it listed under presented and anybody that's signed. So you could always come in here and go to any that are open draft because maybe you want to look at them and say maybe they're not complete and why they're not complete. Somebody in the field may have started one and then saved it and then gone into the attic to complete the work. Still has to come out and put the line items and everything on there. So you can come in here and see, okay, the issue date, who it was to, their billing address, the location, the invoice, anything read in the system you can click on. This will show you a PDF if you want to see the actual PDF, what the customer is going to see. And you can send it from here or take a payment from here. So there's a lot of little hidden things in the reports that you can do, but this will give you the payment terms. And some of our reporting, when you go to look at the reports, you'll see a little eye or in the dashboard modal that will say what it pulls. And a lot of times, if an invoice is in the open draft status, the system looks like it's still being worked on and it doesn't pull it into some reports. So if your reports are ever off, always go check the invoice status, and you can do that in bulk on the invoice list and see pretty quickly if it's already been,
Okay.
says if it says open draft and paid, it probably should be closed, right? And you can come in here
Yeah.
and you can put it as closed. But then that way, this invoice will go into some of that reporting.
Okay.
Okay. And it does not download to Excel because if you look at the format, you can see it's not really going to fit into a grid. So when you download, you only have the option for the invoice detail to download by PDF. Now, I know there's one lady, when she started, she was very worried about starting with WEX FSM, and she was printing out every copy of every invoice that they created so to make sure that she
Okay.
had it until she felt comfortable moving forward with the software. And that's great. It made her feel good, but she could also have come in here and downloaded the PDF and by date range. So when you download the PDF, this is what it looks like, and it'll be each one on a separate sheet of paper, and then that she would have saved a lot of trees by doing it this way.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any questions on this one?
No, nope, that one's pretty good. I've used that one a little bit.
Oh, yay. Okay, so the next one would be the job profit report. And we do have a job costing webinar where I go over this in detail. It basically will pull in any part cost, the revenue, the labor cost, and any other expenses on a job. So let's go in and let's see um, any job that is negative. There's none in this date range, so let's go back a little bit. I thought there was one in here for one of the test customers. Emily Davis, this is the one. So the total revenue was $6,582.94. The product cost was more than the invoice. There was no labor cost because the technician didn't clock in and out of the job, and there were no other expenses. So this one was a loss of 5.5%. So you can click on anything. Red would take me directly to the job. If it's the box with the arrow, it opens it into a new tab. And so profit and loss would be here. See details. That's where the product cost, all of these pieces parts that were put on the invoices had a product cost, and this one came from a purchase order. The product cost was that 6,945.15, and the revenue was 6,582.94. So if you go down to look at the invoice, it's less than the cost of the material that was used on the job.
I do, I do have a question about that report.
Sure.
When we go into the profit and loss,
Mhm.
the labor of ours is also showing up over in the product cost.
Over here.
Yeah, it
Okay.
shows up there under like, because it's billed out on the invoices labor, but it's
Okay.
going in, not
It's going
sure what
in
we need to do.
twice.
I think about it, I go and uncheck it, you know what I mean, to get the correct number, but I wasn't
Mhm.
sure if we have it set up somewhere that it's doing that.
Okay, so if you're adding the labor as a line item, it will show up here as a cost. And like with the purchase order, let's say I had added this system on here from my price book, but I ordered it from a purchase order as well. So this could be in here twice. So you can unclick that and the labor is the same. You can
Okay.
uncheck that if you're using it as a line item because the line item usually is a guesstimate of how much time it's going to take, but the labor cost is the actual time where they clock in and out of the
Yeah.
job. So
Yeah.
are they keeping track of their time when they're on the
Yes.
job and then adding it as a line item?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So what you may want to do, if that is the way you guys like to do business, you may want to go into that. Let me go over to find a place over here and go into the settings, user management, and users, and take that labor cost off of here so that when they clock in and out of the job, it won't bring that time in as well. But that way, you'll have to make sure that everybody is adding their labor as a line item on all of the job forms, on all of the invoices. So is that the way you do it every time?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so
Yeah.
on the user, you
Unless
just
it's
come
a
in.
big job, we keep track of all their time for each job anyways, but yeah. Sure.
Okay, so on here, you could come in here and go make this labor cost 0, and then that way it won't come into there twice, and you won't have to go in and uncheck all of those.
Okay.
The only way that it's going to be a problem is if they don't bill out for the labor on the invoice, and then you would need to come into those jobs, which hopefully would be few, and then add the labor cost here as another expense.
Okay.
Okay, so that should save you some time.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know that the system is set up to pull it in there, but if you're billing it that way, then you're double dipping here and it looks like you're not going to be making much
Right.
money.
Exactly.
Yes. It's like where I thought I did this okay. Why am I not making any money? Well, that labor rate's really high. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can go ahead and take that out. I
Or
would
is
st
it
go ahead.
so it'll still show their labor cost won't show or it will show?
So when you
So
add it as a
so
line, ooh, okay. So when you're late, okay, so you're
so it's gonna show like what we're charging, not what it's actually costing us.
yes. So the labor cost, let's see, the labor cost should come in this way, and what your billing will be here.
Yeah.
But are you unchecking it?
Sometimes if I think about
Because
it.
wait a minute, let me think this over again because this is what you're selling to your customer. So to this amount is what is the cost.
To the
Oh,
customer, but not to us.
not
It's
to you. So
it's
how do you
our
have it set up in your price book? Do you have a labor cost on that labor part?
I believe so. So maybe that's what I need to change in the price book.
I
Maybe
think
change the
that would
price
be
book.
better, yes, because that way,
Okay.
yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, when you come in here and you had, let's see if I have it down in here. Let's go to service.
I think that's what I need to do.
Yes, I think that's what you need to do instead of undoing it. Yes. Now that I think about that,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Because I was started going, wait a minute. So your standard price would be what you add on here, your labor cost here.
Okay.
Okay. And so
All right.
that is
Yep.
bringing in the cost of the equipment.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we'll bring in the cost of that labor. Yes, I'm working backwards.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
So that should help with your job profit report. So this will bring in that cost because the quantity, as long as they don't just put in the quantity one. So if they're there for,
Right.
if you put the part cost in there for $50 and it's 3 hours, and they only put in there, where's my job? If they only add it to the invoice as one labor item and then one quantity, it should be 3 hours. So it'd be
Yep.
150. Okay.
Yep.
So as
Yep.
long
Good.
as long as they don't get in a hurry and just leave the quantity one and then put in the amount, you
Yeah.
should be good.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's see. So we've got that. We've got the labor costs. So let me go back to the job profit report. So did you have any other questions about how this, because it gives you from the filter, it gives you a little bit of an idea of whether you're on the whole making a profit or not?
Yeah. What about like lead source? What does that usually come from on that report?
Okay, lead source is in our system is where you get the job.
Okay. I wasn't
Referral
sure because
is
it's
where you get the customer. So the lead source
okay.
would be
Oh,
here, okay? And then on the actual customer is where you get your referral. And we have people who try to use it backwards all the time. But this is the way the system was built. Other systems use them. The lead is where you get the customer, and the referrals where they use it backwards. But in the way this was built, the referral source could be Facebook, right? And the job lead source could be Facebook. So once you choose it, because you may have gotten the lead from Facebook, I mean, the referral from Facebook, and then once that customer you went out, you got the job because of Facebook. So they may be the same thing. So
okay. So when we're booking the job, we should be clicking somewhere for to show that lead if we have something. If they call and say, "Hey, we saw your ad
yes,
in the paper,"
yes,
it's a
lead
returning
source.
customer.
Here we go.
Okay. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Okay. So you should be putting this
All right.
on the job. So if you,
Okay.
how you got the job, and then on the customer, how you got the customer. And it may be this, you may have gotten the customer from Facebook, but you ran a special and you sent out an email, and it may have come from the email where you actually got this job. So
Okay.
that's where it can get a little bit tricky. But this on this report is coming from this field.
Okay.
Okay. And some people don't worry
Okay.
about the referrals at all. They just worry about the leads. But depending on what you want to do in reporting, some of the reports have referrals on them, some of them have leads on them. Okay. So you can search by lead source. So if you wanted to see on that email that you did, how much income that you got and whether you actually made any money on it, you could sort by that lead source.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then let's see. So that's that one. Let me go back and take a look at there's my prize book. Let me go back to reporting. Go back to the original. Okay, so that's the job profit report. Now I do have that other webinar on how to kind of go through, and it goes into more detail. Since you've seen the report already, you may just want to go back and watch the video and make sure that that you're getting all points, taken care of, whether it is cash or accrual, how you do your accounting, and all of that stuff is on the amount of zero. So that will show on there, or you can put it in the notes down here of what you did. So you can always edit
Okay.
this. People forget that they can edit this.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't sure they could edit one without the other. I thought it would screw
Mhm.
up the QuickBooks stuff. So,
So you can
okay.
have a price book product called part. And when you add it here, it'll say part and there'll be nothing under it. You can open this up and change it to um, motor, as long as you don't change this, right? And you're not keeping track of the parts separately, because otherwise you'd need a motor price book product, right? But if you just
Yeah.
having a simple price book, you can name it part and you can change it on the fly and then change the amount. So we have some people whose price book is as basic as part, labor, discount, service, and warranty. I mean, like 5 items. And they edit it on the
Wow.
fly, and that's good for them because they're not getting the information. They don't need the information in reporting, right? They're not there yet. So once you start trying to quantify things with reporting, and when they're syncing to QuickBooks, you want to have a little bit more robust price book, but you can do it as simply as you want. Okay, so let's go back to the schedule over here and leave that so that I always have a marked place. We went through Emily, and keep that job open just in case. We did the job summary report. Did you have any questions on that one?
Nope, that looks good.
The other thing is you can, just like the job list, you can pull up show flag jobs only on here as well. You can't manage them like you can on the list, but you at least get an idea of how many are left out there. Okay.
All right. Yep.
And then let's go back to now the job summary by report, by appointment. This is the one that will tell you when you actually did the work. Okay. And this is one of those Tableau reports. Remember we talked about it's a little bit different to download it here. You got some different filters and you've got the lovely scrolly bar on the bottom. So this will tell you, and you can sort by job, by appointment. You can go in here. It's going to want me to refresh this. And it's not going to go away until I do, but it takes a little while to load. So I'm going to ignore that for just a couple minutes. Remember, appointment tags are on there and it'll tell you the job type, the job name, if there's a flag for follow-up, completed checklist, if you have sent a review or not. Okay, so if you have
Okay.
reviews set up in the system to go, this will tell you if you have already touched this person to ask for a review request. Okay, how many scheduled appointments, how many complete appointments, once again, the signed proposals and the invoice count like the other report. And then we get to move over just a little bit because there's so much more on here. You can see the invoice total, the lead source, the appointment date, whether the appointment is complete, who is the appointment tech, and who is the invoice tech. So if you're spiffing your people and you go through the productivity report and you'll see that this person is on that invoice, right? And they get credit for it, you may be spiffing anybody else who's on it as well. So you can,
Okay.
depending on how you do things, you can get a little bit more information because it may be more than one person on here who needs to get credit for something.
So if it's like a tech and assistant, the assistant will show under the invoice tech, or will under
It'll
appointment
show
tech
under
show
the
two names?
appointment. So anybody who's on the
Okay.
appointment will show up here. Anybody on this field, right here is the invoice tech. So that's where it
Oh,
pulls
okay.
from. Okay. And so
All
if you
right.
have somebody else who's on the appointment who needs to get credit for it, then you can always go to the user allocation and go through that and make sure that they're getting the correct percentage that they're supposed to for the other report.
Where did you just do that at? Sorry. Oh, allocation
User,
strategies. Is that where it's at?
yeah, user allocation. So when we have
Okay.
when you set up your jobs, there's a default for the user allocation. If it's one tech and it's set to 100%, then the one tech on the call will get 100%. If you don't change it when you set those up and there's a second tech on there, they're going to get credit for 100% as well. Okay, let me show
Oh,
you where
okay.
that is. So if I go to settings and jobs and job types, when you created these or when they were put in here, nobody pays attention that the primary tech gets this amount and the additional techs get this amount. And these are defaulted to 100%. So when they
Okay.
complete the assigned to the appointment, they complete the appointment, the first tech is going to get 50 on this one for a callback, and any additional tech is going to get 50%. And those
Okay.
land here. So if for some reason you have Mark getting 100% and me getting 100%, you can come in here and set this to custom, and you can add me as a user. See, it says manually added, and we're going to change Mark to 50% and me to 50%, and then save.
Okay, thank you. We don't use that yet, but that's nice to know if I need it down the road.
Yeah, if you need it down the road, and then some of the other user reports pull from this. Okay. And so that way you'll know, okay, wait a minute, why am I seeing this job and there's like 400%, there's four people on there, right? And they're getting all this,
Right,
and it goes by who's on the appointments unless you manually enter it. And you may be manually entering the salesperson in here because you may have a salesperson who wasn't even on the appointment when they did the install, right? So you may want
right.
to put them in
Yeah,
there and take care of that. Because one of the things when you go
okay,
to the reporting and you'll see, why do I see all my installers have all this income associated with them, but my salesperson has nothing, right? It's
right.
because
Yeah,
this is driven by appointments.
okay, yeah, because sometimes we have one guy do a bid, but he's not the one that's actually installing the bid, so it'd be, yeah, something like that probably too.
Okay. So, like I said, there's lots of good information on here so that you can go in. I'm not going to refresh this because it's going to watch the circle go around. But did you have any other questions about this one?
No, nope,
Okay. And like I said, the job summary report goes by job creation date, and this one goes by the appointment date. And so if you're looking for something on the other one, you'll have to widen your search range, and this one will go by actual date of the appointment. Okay.
okay.
And the next one was on there was the proposal list. I'm pretty sure I kept it in order, but let me just check. I tried to line everything up. Yep, proposals. So as far as proposals go, you can have more than one proposal on a job, but it is only considered one opportunity per job, one opportunity to sell. So let's say you did one proposal on one job, they accepted it, so that's one opportunity. But you did a proposal comparison for somebody else. So that's three proposals on the same job, good, better, best, or sometimes people name them gold, silver, bronze, or whatever you call them. Um,
Uh-huh.
there'll be three proposals on there. They accept one and you do the work. There's not three opportunities on there. There is one opportunity, but there's three proposals. And so sometimes you'll come in and you'll see the numbers on the proposal list and the proposal report. Let me go back over to here and go to proposal report. And that's what I wanted to show you on the list. So if there is a proposal comparison, you're going to see the same proposal number with a -1, -2, -3. And just
Okay.
because it is
The
on
Castillo,
here,
I think, has a 9 and a 12 or something on his.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So they had 12 proposals on that one job. Okay. Because the first
Mhm.
part is the job number and the last extension is how many proposals are on there. But
Okay.
there's still only one opportunity on that job. That's why it looks different on the proposal list to the proposal report. Let me
Okay.
pull that up here because the proposal report will say there's 9 opportunities, right? And through this date range, you look down and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 proposals on here, but there's only 9 opportunities because some of them are on the same job. And that's
Okay.
why it'll be off. It'll look off and you're going, wait a minute, wait a minute. And then you take off your shoes and your socks and you start counting, right, with your fingers to see how many's on here. And you go, it doesn't match. And you're right, it doesn't match. It's because of the number of jobs. So if I sort this by job, 72, there's two on 69, 64, 64. So there's two on there. So that should make up the difference, right? And so you can come in here and you can see the customer, the proposal number, the job type, the technician, whether they have accepted it, signed it, or anything on here. So monitoring this to make sure that you're following up on all those proposals is a good thing. So let's say if there's more than one proposal on the job, they accept the one proposal. I would go back on that job and close the other two proposals so
That's
that,
what I was asking.
yes,
Okay. That's what I was wondering about that.
yes. So close those so that they don't show up on this list as presented, right? So anytime that you know that this job is done, you've had the proposal, you can go ahead and set those other ones to closed because you have the
Okay.
option. I'm trying to remember what the option is. So proposals, you have open draft and you can make it declined because they took
Okay.
one and signed it and made the other ones declined. Okay.
Okay.
If you mark them voided, you're not really sure if that's something you presented to them or if something you just, decided not to offer. But if you know that it was offered, because it'll be in the presented status and they decided not to take that one, you can set it to declined.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
And so that was the proposal report. Basically, you can search by technician, anybody to see who got credit for it and make sure that you've ordered the equipment, done everything else that you need to do. And then that will give you your close rate once these statuses are all set correctly. Okay. And
Okay.
just remember it's one opportunity per job.
Okay.
Okay. And so I can get rid of the proposal list because I already showed you that. And let's see what else is. Maintenance plan appointment scheduling. Are you using this report already?
Um, Michelle might. I don't usually do the maintenance plan, but a different girl in the office does.
Okay.
She
So
does
you are
that.
selling maintenance plans in the system?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So what is if you're not using this report or not using this report to its fullest, it will save you so much time. So what you can do is any maintenance plan that you have sold, you can choose by plan type if you want to. You can choose by current, future. If you want to go back and see anybody with an expired plan that maybe you missed a service window that's unscheduled, you can see them in here. And you can come in and you can send somebody a notification. So when it says complete, it'll say NA here that you can't send them a notification because you wouldn't want to send them one anyway. It's done. But if you come in here and you go anybody who's unscheduled, this will give you a list of all expired plans that have an unscheduled service window. Okay. And since there's not a whole lot here, and you can go March, okay, well, we're in that window. March, 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 March. There, oh, well, September, I don't want to send. So I can come in here and I can hit select all. I can go down and unclick this one because I don't want to send it to them yet. And you would think there would be a lot more check marks here, but there's not because these are zeros. So when you add a maintenance plan, if you don't turn that reminder toggle to on, this is going to show up as zero and you can't send them a notification. So let me go to Ralph Wilkerson and look at his
Okay.
plan. Maintenance plan. Okay, so it's an expired plan, right? So if I come in here
Yep.
and I go to reminders and see how this is off, if I
Uh-huh.
turn this on, it has a destination now to send this to. Okay.
Okay.
If it doesn't, it's going to show zero. Let me close out of this because somebody may be testing with us. Do you want to save changes plan? No. Okay. So if I go back over here, they may have these off for a reason. But if you see a zero and you want to use this feature, go back in and turn those on for this. And then that way, when you send the notifications, this will send, let me go over to here, settings, and I'm going to just choose email. Maintenance plan scheduling request. And it's going to send out, hello, John, this is a reminder from Joe Services that it's time to schedule your next maintenance appointment. Please call us at this number. So instead of your office person having to call everybody and schedule all of these, it's going to send them this notification. And sometimes this will say, there's a lot of traffic in the system. I'll post this in just a second. But the ones that I sent now has a last notification date. And this is going to be emailed or texted out to the customer depending on their notification preference. And you can click on it and you can see how many times you sent and where it went to. Okay. Now let's say Next week you come in and you schedule a couple of these and you run unscheduled again. This amount is going to decrease because they're calling you to schedule instead of you having to call them and trying to contact them. They're
Okay.
calling
Now,
you.
is this used,
Go
is
ahead.
that used for all scheduling, like, or just expired people? It will work for
It works
anyone with a
for
maintenance plan?
anybody who has a maintenance
Okay.
plan, depending on what you, this is everybody in this system who has a maintenance plan. And then you kind of sort by the service window date because you don't want to send somebody a December of 26 because you're not ready to do their heat yet, right? So you would
Yeah.
choose, your sort, choose unscheduled, and then you have the option to send these all, right? Instead of calling. And it goes page
Right.
by page so that let's say you had 150 of them, right? And you sent all notifications to all 150. If 10% call back and you have a busy day, you might be overwhelmed. So you can push as many of these as you feel comfortable that you can handle the calls when they come in. So maybe one page at a time. And then you'll see the last date that you sent out, right? Go to the next page, say, oh, I haven't sent these guys. So let me send this page. And then go to the next so that you can start getting them to call you instead of you having to call them.
Good. Okay.
And so I used to use the 3 strike rule. If I looked in here and I'd send it to them twice, then I pick up the phone. Okay. But I try to
Okay.
whittle it down to get as many people to call me as possible.
Yes.
And so if you're not using this, this is a great one. And it also helps you keep track of how many service windows you haven't completed yet, right? And if
Okay.
for some reason somebody put it in the service request, there's no service requests in here. So you know how on a maintenance plan, when it's on the customer and you go to the customer, let me see, go back over to Jack Dawson. Oh, Emily Davis might have one. Maybe let's check. Does she have a maintenance plan? She doesn't have a maintenance plan. Let me see who's somebody who does. This one does. So to schedule a maintenance plan service window, you would come here and you would click on the calendar and it opens up the appointment modal, right? And you schedule it from here. You can also do it from this report. So if for some reason you're on the report, and let me go back to anybody who's on schedule, you can click on here and it brings up the same window and you can go ahead and schedule them from here as well.
Okay.
Okay. These are the only 2 places when you schedule a maintenance plan that it clicks down these service windows. So if for some reason you came here and you knew that they had a maintenance plan, but you for some reason forgot to come here, didn't realize that you needed to come here, and you created as a new appointment. If you remember, you can go find it here. Okay, but then you're like going, I can't tell what it is. I can't tell which one it is. It gets really confusing.
Yeah.
You can come over here and if you schedule it wrong, it'll be on here and you can say spring maintenance, name it, and then come back and click this pencil and hit change job and go find the one where it was done on. And then it'll update this to the appointment status of the one where it was actually done.
Okay.
Okay. So there's ways to backdoor it, but this is your bestest best friend if you're not using it because it will save you guys so much time.
Okay. She probably is. I think she does do that, but I've never watched her do it.
Okay. Okay. Well, did you have any questions? It looks like we've gone through this section of reporting and instead of having a Q&A at the end, we've been doing it as we go, which is great because let me tell you, doing webinars and when nobody's talking, it gets just like, is there anybody out there? So, so
Never know.
I really appreciate talking to you today. So,
No, I appreciate your doing this.
thank you. Do you have any questions about anything else in this section?
No, not at the moment. No, everything looks pretty good.
Okay, and then next time when we go through the rotation, we're going to do the sales. But just remember to check when you come down here and you search Solution Studio, I can spell, and it's advanced working sessions and learning. It tells you a little bit about it, but the calendars are right down here for what's coming up. So if there's one of these that you have, like the job profit report, if you want a deeper dive, you can either sign up for the next one or come down to the bottom and find the recording in one of these links. Okay.
All right, good. Yeah, I ended up missing a couple classes that for crazy stuff, but no, so that's good. So I can watch the replays
Yeah,
too.
you can go watch the replays. This is a little bit hidden because normally when you go back to the webinars and video courses, they're the ones that Mark does, and he's more of an entry level. And so for people who are just learning to find the feature and see how it works, they're not to the point yet where they're ready to dial it in for like reporting and to see all facets of how everything go together. So they're on the front page so that we make sure that we can get them to training. But the Solution Studio will have the little bit more um, advanced for people who are using the system and now want to dial it in.
Yeah, good. Sounds good.
Okay. Anything else I can do for you today or any other questions?
Nope, nope. I think you helped find show me how to find stuff. That's great. So thank you. I appreciate you doing this.
Oh, I appreciate you being here today. So I'll go ahead and close this out. There's a survey at the end if you care to fill it out. It always helps. If not, don't worry about it. And I'll probably see you on another one.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. Have a
You,
good day.
you too. Take care.
Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye-bye.